So the seeding, the qualifying process seems to have worked tremendously.
I mean, speaking of, qualifying practice, Andy with 13 maxes in his qual, which at the time was the world record until 2 hours later, Eric and Fractal got 14.
Yeah, it's just absolute insanity. Near perfect play from our number 1 and 2 seeds, and even in the top 6, Dog, Pixel Andy, and others, Huffleupagus, Tristop. Yeah, it's going to be an absolutely insane bracket here unfolding today.
All right. Everyone, come on, count down with me. Here we go. The first match of top 16 in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tetris!
Here we go.
So here we go. Every match is, of course, best of 5. And I feel like in this particular championship, it's going to be a match of mental endurance.
Yeah, as most all of these players are now capable of playing past 29, as is previously called the kill screen. There's a lot of names for it now, the skill screen, the rolling screen, whatever you want to call it. But it is going to be a battle of endurance as we move forward through this bracket.
Yeah, and especially, with all these players, Dylan being the only tapper having to compete, up against the roller. I mean, we've seen upsets happen before earlier in the bracket, so it is possible. But Dylan is going to have, a tougher time on 29 getting those pieces over.
Yeah, Andy's certainly the favorite in this matchup, but we'll see what happens. We still see early 18 top outs from even the best players, as we saw from Eric yesterday, who, went way beyond into the kill screen, but still, this game is still bound for upsets early on because players are going to be fishing for that efficiency.
Yeah, a lot of ambitious tuck set up beautifully over here by Sidnev. Waiting for the right piece, gets a tuck, and he's going to be able to keep a clean board and have a 1-point lead.
Wow, getting off to a great start with that pushdown point.
Down at the bottom, so far all of our matches all around are, close. Looks like everyone is using the long bar to score the same Tetris.
And I think, as we called yesterday, this is going to be extremely consistent Tetris play around the board for this top 16. So we're going to nearly get to the kill screen every game, I believe.
Yeah. We're seeing now, how clean they can stack. But when pieces start getting rough, it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to endure, a lack of ideal pieces.
Thatchy with a clean T-spin tuck there.
Yeah, but it is going to have to do some burning, and now Sidnev already taken advantage of that. And look at this opening Tetris rate from Sidnev. Highest out of the field at 91%.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Thatchy able to, I believe in their qual, hit level 52 or something like that. So Sidnev is going to want this early game efficiency. I'm sure they can play pretty far into 29 as well, but, Alex Thatch is certainly someone that you will want to get ahead in the game a bit.
I mean, any of these players, having a substantial lead, you want that to be best, because when it gets close and now y'all both are fighting on kill screen, all it takes is just one mistake and you might try and go a little bit aggressive to build some separation, and you're not able to do so and end up, topping out, and game one goes to the other player.
That's right. So you want to hit this efficiency early on so that in 29 play, you won't be forced to go for Tetrises. So your opponent, if they're comfortable on 29, they can just line out and force you to go for Tetrises to get caught up.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Score update for the players. At the bottom is 308,000 for Andy and 306,000 for Dylan, only separated by 1,000 points. Up top, Sidnev at 326 and able to get the well open just in time for that long bar. So 357 for Sidnev and 297 for Thatchy. Sidnev with a 60,000 point lead here.
Yeah, great start for Sidnev with that 82% Tetris rate.
I mean, this is just insane. If you take a look at the bottom, just both players, the lead really hasn't extended above 2,000 points for either player.
Yeah, neck and neck here at the bottom. Dylan will be wanting to look to get a little bit of an edge on Andy moving into the post-transition and into 29 play.
But it's also hard to get an edge when, your opponent is playing just as clean and just as efficient as you are. I mean, it says it right there on their Tetris rate. They're both at 80% Tetris rate.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough egg for Dylan to crack here as they will move forward in this set, or as they progress through this set, excuse me.
Sidnev now actually having some minor complications going aggressive, set up for a dirty Tetris, and boom, Tetris for Sidnev.
Yeah, and they're going to work their way through these last, I guess, one.
Ooh, dirty Tetris for Sidnev as well.
That's about as efficient as you can get when you're down stacking through a row with the Tetris.
You know, we always talk about, you know, how players have to be efficient, you know, burning these, you know, uncomfortable stacks down. And the best way to do that is if you can safely get a Tetris.
And with the mechanical abilities of these players, they are very confident setting up these Tetrises rows, like 4 or 5 rows high up.
Yeah, especially Sidnev in particular. I mean, this is actually interesting because both Thatchy and Sidnev are considered some of the more aggressive players that we have in the scene. So having 2 hyper-aggressive players match up against each other, we're going to see some interesting stuff when it comes towards, you know, 19 and 29.
And their aggression so far is paying off. Sidnev with a little bit of an edge, but, you know, now with the same line count, it's only a Tetris apart. And Sidnev is maintaining that 80% Tetris rate, which is, you know, when you're hunting for that peak efficiency and you hit it, it's going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah, it looks like actually we might be close to almost all 4 players getting a 600K transition here.
Yeah, we're going to head into essentially a free-for-all if these players maintain this consistency.
Stacking the eyepieces in the center, so going to have to maneuver around it. There we do 630 transition for Sidnev and 598 for Thatchy.
Yeah, starting off with an amazing 18 for both players.
605 transition for Andy. Dylan gets the well open just in time, going to transition at 535. So just towards those last few lines, because Dylan and Andy have been close almost the entire game. Andy was able to find some separation somewhere.
Yeah, Dylan's going to want to hope for both Andy to mess up, and they're going to want to get as many Tetrises as possible before level 29.
Yeah, right now Sidnev actually having to do some digging, so slowly that lead is starting to evaporate.
All right, Sidnev finding a nice burn into a Tetris, getting a higher left, trying to stabilize that board a little bit.
And boom, Tetris for Thatchy back into the lead. Now this is real close because the lead Sidnev had is gone. So now essentially they're just exchanging Tetrises when they can.
Yeah, this matchup here on the top is going to be, I feel like it's going to come down to the wire multiple times.
794 for Sidnev, 788 for Thatchy, 678 for Dylan, and 771 for Andy. Almost a 100,000 point lead.
Everyone with a pretty clean stack. Sidnev has to, after some great burns, they can fill out their left. They'll be more than comfortable here. Tetris for Sidnev.
Thatchy also having to do a couple of burns as well and not quite getting the most ideal pieces. And so Sidnev back up to a 60,000 point lead, and this looks like it might be a prolonged dig for Thatchy. Oh, nice. Thatchy getting pieces where they need to go. And the hang, able to get it over. Look at that. Still not safe. And no, that was the setup for dirty Tetris.
I feel like that was intentional, Sharky.
Yeah, it definitely was intentional. Alex T is that kind of player. And at this point, kind of needs it because Sidnev is just on fire. Almost a 100,000 point lead. And boom, Tetris for Sidnev. 1 Tetris away from 1,000,000 points already. And there it is, the max out from Sidnev. Down at the bottom, 809. Make that 840 for Dylan and 912 for Andy.
Yeah, Dylan might go. Okay, I thought they were going to go for that center well, but they are behind by over 100K or just about 100K, so they're going to have to get as many Tetrises as possible, knowing that their opponent is Pixel Andy.
Yeah, there it is, Tetris for Sidnev, and we are getting close to level 29. Thatchy is 1 Tetris away from a max out. Sidnev is now at 1.1, can try and grab 2 more Tetrises here on level 28, and then we're heading to level 29.
So looking like Thatchy will have to get caught up here.
And a little bit of a miss drop from Thatchy. Has 10 line, another miss drop from Thatchy.
Gets the long bar over. Going to have to, they have 5 lines to work with before they hit that level 29 speed.
Sidnev goes to level 29 at 1,070,000. 2 lines left. 1 more line, and there it is. Thatchy is off on the races, level 29. Has to get this stack open. Beautiful flat burns. Able to get that as all the way over to the right. Nice burns. Oh no, the hang. Can he get a high piece over? He needs to do it. It's a dirty. No! He suffers. for dirty, but he reopens it up. And he's able to get the dirty Tetris, but hangs a piece right after. He's going to try and win an LPs for a couple of flat birds, but the LPs is nowhere to be found, and Thatchy tops out at 1,081,000. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, Dylan's still down by 100,000 points and not really able to do anything. So Andy is going to take game number 1 down there as well. 1.2 for Sidnev, 1.2 for Andy. And there wasn't a lot of 29 plays, so that is just sheer efficiency.
Starting off the day with 4 max outs and 2 1.2 million scores, Sharky.
I believe that's the first time we've had all 4 players on here in an in-person CTWC, all 4 players max out.
Without a doubt. So much, all these players have improved dramatically since the our last live event in 2019. So we're going to see max out after max out with how consistent these players are.
All right. We have a start from Sidnev and Thatchy and a start from Dylan and Andy. And it's kind of interesting how the story of, the matches kind of evolved. We showed Sidnev, being able to find efficiency places where Thatchy could not early in 18, and then towards 19 ran into some issues. But later, Thatchy had to give up so much efficiency and had to perform a 100,000 point plus chase down up against an active opponent.
Yeah, I have a feeling Thatchy will also have their time to shine. It seems like both players did have to navigate through some situations, so we might have some trades here throughout the best of 5 matchup.
Yeah. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, Dylan and Andy, they were neck and neck up until like the last 30 lines. I mean, the biggest separation that we saw between them was like 5,000 points up until around like line 110.
Right.
So it is definitely there, and Dylan just, that lead Andy was able to get, and just the last, 20 lines to 18 was able to hold on to it. So if Dylan is able to match that efficiency from Andy, we could see a close game all the way up until 29.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dylan was actually doing a pretty good job keeping up with that 29 speed, even though they are hyper tapping.
Anyways, right now, Sidnev off to a really early lead, almost 100,000 point advantage. Amazing adjustment right there. And you'll occasionally see that from a lot of these players nowadays. They like to perform adjustments to try and be just a tad bit more efficient. And if you're able to save, one line, even just 4 times, that's, another Tetris in hand.
No, absolutely. And it's going to make all the difference. I feel like adjustments are the key to, especially between all these consistent players, having that edge on making those minor adjustments to squeeze out 1 or 2 more Tetrises will secure a much more comfortable position going into
Thatchy in a little
29.
bit of a precarious situation. Small hanging. Oh, no. That's an early top out from Thatchy. So Sidnev is good for game number 2.
Not what you want to see here in the top 16, but I bet Alex will get it together here moving forward to go for that reverse sweep.
Yeah, was trying to go for a dirty Tetris, and on the OPs accidentally went too fast and covered up the well, and things just started getting incredibly complicated. But
yeah, being down 2 games against Sidnev is it's going to be tough to crack.
But I mean, we've seen matches, come back from that in previous CTWC season and this CTWC alone.
All right, looks like Dylan and Andy are progressing a little bit through their level 18.
Yeah, as of right now, 247 for Dylan, 328 for Andy. Andy just able to find quite a bit more efficiency this time around than Dylan here. But we still have, just around 50% of 18 to go.
Yeah, and Dylan's not going to want to fall too far behind at this place. This is a chance for any play style to try to keep up in efficiency against their opponent.
And slight misdrop over there from Dylan. He's going to try and keep the burns isolated to 1 level. All right, has a potential nice setup. Goes for the S flat, so not going to be able to score Tetris until clearing out that hole at the bottom.
Yeah, and they had to set up another. Okay, it looks like they might be able to burn through this part, but. Thing is, Pixel Andy is going through a drought as well, so they might not be able to capitalize.
This is actually a best case scenario, getting a drought whenever you're having to dig or correct your stack. Right now, the drought continues to develop, so there is a possibility here. A T piece, I piece comes a little bit too early.
Oh, kind of tricky. There we go. Finally gets the right piece for that double, but they still have to work through these. Yeah, there we go.
And just one Mino shy of a Tetris, but there it is. Boom, Tetris for Dylan. And boom, Tetris for Andy. 435 for Andy, 357 for Dylan, and up top we just started, but 145 for Sidnev and 124 for Thatchy.
Yep, clean start for 18 up top. Sidnev maintaining it. Well, it's very early. 30 lines in is, you know, 70% Tetris rate versus 60 doesn't mean a whole lot. But
yeah, but now Sidnev getting a little scary here. And now this is an opportunity for Thatchy here. You know, previously we've seen, you know, in these games, Thatchy has been able to just be consistently, you know, behind Sidnev in terms of pace. And Sidnev having to do some burning here.
This is tricky.
Does open up the well. Gonna go for a flat burn. J piece to pin it. Gets the J piece. Finding a way to bring it down. Reopens up the well. And it's not gonna be a Tetris, it's gonna be a triple at best. Sidnev is working his way down. And there it is. Sidnev survives that dig. Expertly done. And only trails by 52,000 points as well.
Yeah, looks like Sidnev is making their way down from that tricky situation. Also, just a friendly reminder to those watching at home, we do have live Tetris at twitch.tv/Classic Tetris 2. And we have Huff versus Fractal happening on that stage. Or, I'm sorry. Huff and Fractal are playing on a Classic Tetris 2.
So we just hit transition over here for Dylan, 506,000 transition. Andy's going to transition with a 583, almost back-to-back 600K transitions for Andy. Dylan able to kind of close the gap slightly. Andy having to do a little more burns. And on level 19, it's, you know, not getting these long bars and able to utilize them for Tetrises tends to be more impactful than on level 18 just because of the speed increase, even though these players are able to handle the speed like this.
Yeah, the speed increase and these Tetrises are much more valuable, so Dylan has a chance to close the gap in these situations. Dylan navigating, debating going for that dirty Tetris possibly, but looks like they're playing it safer now.
Yeah, recognize that it wasn't necessarily a dirty Tetris because of that gap in column 10. So just trying to find a way to, you know, really burn down. Andy now, Tetris ready, back up to a 100,000 point lead, and boom, Tetris for Andy. Dylan finally Tetris ready, and boom, Tetris for Dylan. 625 to 725, almost a 100,000 point lead exactly for Andy.
Sidnev in a precarious situation here up top.
Yeah, is going to have to do quite a burns. Has a couple of holes.
Meanwhile, on bottom, Andy is, you know, garnering even more of a lead and looking quite dominant currently in this post-transition.
Right now, Dylan, couldn't utilize that long bar for a Tetris and is actually going to have to create a hole temporarily and looking for hopefully a good piece to open it up. There it is, just needs an L or a J. Nice overhang. Forced to use the I piece to cover it up and forced to take that double, was considering just going for an S flat. And that's the issue. Andy has been keeping a clean stack throughout these droughts because we've been seeing quite a few of them here. And speaking of droughts, oh my gosh, dirty Tetris up there for Thatchy into another Tetris for both players.
But yeah, as we see from Andy, as we mentioned earlier, they're just...
Oh, nice line spin over there from Dylan.
Good job, Dylan. Yeah, Dylan is going to have to do whatever it takes to get these Tetrises. Boom, Tetris for Dylan. But yeah, Andy certainly with their ability to control these pieces and hit that efficiency is a threat to win CTWC today.
Yeah, there it is. Boom, Tetris for Andy. Dylan's actually managed to close the gap down by 50,000 points. And he had a 150,000 point lead. Oh no, the long bar came a little bit too late for Dylan. That's going to be a triple. And we are closing in on 29. Sidnev up top is going to transition around the mid 400s. Thatchy looking to grab one more Tetris. And Thatchy's going to transition at 516.
All right, Dylan able to nab another Tetris, but they have to pretty much have peak efficiency at this point forward.
Peak efficiency and has something on 29. Andy right now with already a max out here. There's a back-to-back in comp. And oh, hang for Sidnev, but it barely gets it over. Set up for another one.
Nice.
And boom, Tetris for Sidnev. Staying alive here.
Dylan Tetris is into the kill screen.
Right now, 950 or 962 for Dylan, doing the best, and there might be an opportunity here. Andy's getting up high. Andy hangs. Dylan actually has a possible chase down. Dylan needs 80,000 more points, needs to get the stack low, going for flat burns, getting pieces over to the left on 29 is exceptionally hard. Dylan might be, no, not gonna go for the Tetris. Needs to get an L piece for a flat burn to have the safest solve, and not quite able to get the pieces over, and Dylan's gonna top out at 985. So Andy takes game number 2. Meanwhile, up top, Thatchy is looking in a very precarious situation. Has to get pieces over to the left. Nice flat burn. And hangs the eyepiece. This might be it for Thatchy. And Thatchy hangs and tops out. Sidnev completes an upset.
Oh, now they did. Yep.
With that line clear. And Thatchy is eliminated from the tournament with a sweep.
Wow. Great games from Sidnev and Thatchy, doing a great job making it out to their first live CTWC to prove that, you know, they're going to be a threat in the future as well.
But wow, we now have a player not from the States advancing into our top 8.
All right, Dylan and Andy kicking off their game 3.
Okay. Can Alan and Tristop come up to the main stage, please? Alan and Tristop, come to the main stage, please.
All right, things are heating up for game 3 here between Andy and Dylan. Pretty equal pacing so far.
Dylan now in a must-win situation here. And it was kind of tough, you know, in that 29, it was doable. And we saw, you know, even though Dylan is tapping just the raw speed and able to consciously know what he can and can't do.
Right. Yeah, it seemed like Dylan had actually pretty good control there on the 29 speed, considering they are tapping currently. They had that rough first hang with the, I believe, the J piece to get to that far left. So
yeah, and they need another L piece in order to try and burn it out safely, because getting those long bars over to the left-hand side on 29 is incredibly difficult. And you know, that's what a part of, you know, rolling helped revolutionize 29 play, is because now movement to the left became a lot more possible, and you're not having to tap, you know, 15 or 16 times per second and hope that you hit all those taps accurately in order to do so.
Right. Yeah, hyper tapping, you know, 10 levels. It's much more difficult to hyper tap that far into 29. But you know, if Dylan's stuck with this style for a while, they could, you know, even Alex Thatch before they switched to rolling was able to hit like level 40s and such on hyper tapping.
Yeah,
so,
including Eric. You know, Eric before, you know, swapping over to rolling. Right. Eric was a player that got the first level 36, 37. You know, was really pushing hyper tapping to the limits. Right now, we are separated by a single. Oh, nice adjustment.
a bit of a drought here on level 18. Both players handling it pretty well. Having those bit of a double, triple well here for Dylan. Dealing with a, over a 50 drought here for both players.
That was the biggest drought we've seen so far.
Yeah, 54 drought.
But also at the same time, despite the drought being so big, they handled it so well. It didn't really feel like that much of a drought.
While we are progressing here through this Game 3 18, we would like to do a shout out to Total Radness and Steve DeLuca for sponsoring this year's CTWC. If you haven't already, be sure to check out TotalRadness.com and I had the chance to score a Goofy Foot controller, which you can have the D-pad on the opposite side. So if you are trying to pick up rolling, or I believe, yeah, a lot of rollers will use the Goofy Foot for so that they can use their right hand more properly for that rolling input. So if you're trying to get competitive here into the future, if you're inspired, be sure to check out TotalRadness.com.
All right, we still have a very close game between Dylan and Andy here. Andy actually ahead in line, so if Dylan's able to knock down a Tetris, we're separated by essentially a triple in terms of score.
Yeah, and Dylan was very close to closing that gap in game 2, so they've been very consistent, bringing it to, you know, making Andy work for it. So we'll see what they can do here in game 3 if they can close that gap.
Meanwhile, Tristop already getting up a little bit high. Needs to get pieces over, and oh no! That's the top out for Tristop, so game 1 goes to Allen.
Tristop joining Club Zero live here at CTWC 2022, but looking like they're a good sport about it, and they're ready to move into game 2.
Game 2 getting started up top. Meanwhile, 456 for Dylan and 467 for Andy. Andy's actually going to transition off of that Tetris. Dylan can try and grab one more, so a 491 transition for Andy. And a 504 transition for Dylan, so Dylan slightly more efficient than Andy here on level 18. Carries it up into the post transition. That could mean good things going into 29.
Yeah, much more comfortable position for Dylan in this game 3 if they're going to want to bring it to Andy. Hopefully they can maintain this Tetris rate, and they have one hole in their gap currently, but that's actually a few options here to get through that quickly. Handling it well so far.
And he knocks down a Tetris, converting into the lead, but there it is. Boom, Tetris for Dylan. Tristop's starting to get up a little bit high here.
Yeah, bit of a rocky start here for Tristop.
I'm just trying to find a good way to navigate, and not going to use that T-piece to burn it immediately. Nice burns. Love a J here.
There we go.
There's a J, and Tristop is going to be able to navigate downward here. Just looking for one more L or J. Now in need of a J. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, now we're only separated by 300 points.
Yeah, Dylan had to navigate through an I dependency there on the left, had a high center. Now they're set up for Tetris. Boom, Tetris for Dylan.
We do also got to keep in mind, Dylan is behind by 4 lines, so this could be around, you know, a 30,000 point lead in favor of Dylan. So Dylan's still keeping just a slightly better efficiency than Andy, but the lead that, you know, Dylan was able to generate going into transition kind of started to disappear a little bit.
Yeah, Dylan's going to need every Tetris that they can get. We've already seen in the previous 2 games. But at the same time, Dylan was playing pretty well in that level 29, so they can, you know, stick with it for at least a little bit.
Yeah, oh, nice S-flat delay burn over there for Dylan. There it is. Boom, Tetris for Dylan, maintaining a 30,000 point lead. Now Andy having minor complications.
Oh.
Knocks. Can we have Dog and Laser to stage 2, please? Dog and Laser to stage 2. Dylan now up to a 52,000 point lead. Andy, you know, starting to slow down a little bit. Kind of ran into issues with that one hole that was generated on 25.
Yeah, Dylan with a pretty comfortable lead here going into, you know, about to hit level 27 with that Tetris. And they're behind by lines.
935 for Dylan. One more Tetris will give us a max out. Boom, Tetris for Andy.
So finally looking like Dylan will put that pressure on Andy to score some efficiency here in these later levels.
Yeah, Dylan also having to slow down a little. An L piece would be amazing here, but Oh, this is a little bit difficult. Andy gonna go to 29, set up for a Tetris. Waiting on long bar. Long bar comes too slow. Dylan, one Tetris to go before 29. Andy now hangs. Still trying to survive. Still trying to survive. Can't get that piece over to left. And Dylan is going to be able to take one game. Bring us to a game 4.
Great game from Dylan. You know, they've consistently hit that level 29. They've been bringing great efficiency. They have what it takes. Obviously, you know, rolling is going to be very difficult if that level 29 is prolonged, but as of right now, they are following their personal recipe for success here.
But we also see, you know, the kind of pressure Dylan was putting on Andy was starting to impact Andy's play. Towards the end, was really going aggressive, trying to get that 29 Tetris and really just cut the lead. And unfortunately, well got covered when the eyepiece come, and then Andy was having to, you know, roll these pieces over at an incredibly high height.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you don't want to have to be put in that position where you have to play on 29 too long if you can avoid it. So Andy was trying to squeeze in a few Tetrises on 28, and it kind of spiraled out of control.
Yeah. Now up top we have Alan versus Tristop, game number 2, and Alan right here 478, Tristop at 411.
We haven't seen a whole lot of Alan competitively online in the last year, or maybe longer.
Yeah, last time we seen, you know, Alan participate in a CTWC, if I'm not mistaken, was back in 2020, where they were able to get top 8 then as well. And I think, you know, a lot of people were really, you know, surprised when Alan came out in qual and just started just getting maxed out after max out after max out. You know, generally people think that when you play this game or you don't play this game for a certain amount of time, you kind of get a little bit rusty.
At the same time, for some people, once you learn the game, it's like riding a bike. You know, you can just come back 6 months, a year later, and still be killing it.
Anyways, we have a 598 transition from Alan, and we had a low 500 transition from Tristop. So Tristop is already going to have to, you know, start to, you know, try and gain some efficiency here somewhere, because Tristop is already down one game.
Right, and Tristop has been improving dramatically in the recent months, so we'll see what they can do if we hit that 29 play as well. Even then, on their in general, they are quite an efficient player, even though they've had this rocky start so far.
Yeah. I mean, Tristop, you know, it speaks to his just general stacking fundamentals when he was the first player to get a DAS 1.3, a score that, you know, a lot of people thought would never happen.
Yeah, DAS 1.3 is quite hard. Give it a try at home if you'd like, but it might take you a while.
But as of right now, Alan actually having to do some burning. Could try and go for a left well here. And looks like Alan is going to go for it in the midst of a drought.
Building pretty smart so far. Still keeping that high right.
Dan B versus Eric ICX on stage 2, please.
And of course, these stage 2 matches you can catch on twitch.tv/Classic Tetris 2. Be sure to have both streams open at home.
Tristop actually made quite the comeback just from that one drought that Alan had to endure. Not only down, now back actually in the lead. 822 here at 24 for Tristop and 809 for Alan.
Yeah, very close here up top. Alan is behind slightly on line, so maybe a true Tetris rate lead here for Alan, but anything can happen.
Yeah, but it's still incredibly close. Boom, Tetris for Alan in the lead now by 9,000 points. And, you know, Alan is actually one of the few players that we see that mainly taps.
Yeah, both Alan and Dylan here are representing our hyper tapping community.
Alan now, Tetris ready, and there it is. Boom, Tetris for Tristop, and boom, Tetris for Alan. Tristop now up to a 18,000 point lead, a couple thousand points away, and there it is, max out for Tristop. And boom, Tetris for Alan, gonna give us the 1 million points. We are closing in on 29. Tristop can try and squeeze 3 more Tetrises here on level 28. There's one. And Tristop is playing ahead, so Alan does have a little bit more room to score before 29 comes. Boom, Tetris for Alan and Tristop.
Right, if Alan keeps up this efficiency, they're going to force Tristop to have to, you know, as we see, play here on 29 plus.
Yeah, boom, Tetris for Alan. But this is going to be tough. 29 play is probably going to be required. Tristop actually needs to get a couple pieces over to the left. Needs to try and get a piece over, not able to get it, so trying to go for some flat burns. But Alan is still down, now it's back.
Oh.
Right now, 2,000 point differential, both players are active. Tristop not able,
Oh,
oh my gosh, able to get it over. Now back to a 4,000 point lead, and Alan's not able to do anything, and Tristop is gonna take game number 2. What a nail biter of a game. It could have ended at any 1 second for either player, and at the end, it came down to only 6,000 points. Tristop getting that long bar all the way over to the left allowed the set to be tied 1-1.
Yeah, Tristop trying multiple times to get over to the left and finally hit it with that long bar for the win. Showing some resilience in their attempts and just keeping their head in the game, even though they, you know, after you miss some of those rolling movements, you know, you can be a little you know, you could be unencouraging, I suppose. I couldn't think of the word for it, sorry.
What a way to bounce back, though. You know, it's easy whenever you have a situation like what happened in game 1 that could easily disrupt your rhythm, but Tristop had a phenomenal way to bounce back and tied up the set, you know, correcting that unfortunate top out. But we just hit transition. Andy transition with a one-off 600K. Dylan's going to transition at 564. So Andy with a slight lead or advantage here in transition.
Yeah, once again, in close game, we'll see if Dylan can maintain this efficiency moving forward in post-transition to put Pixel Andy in that same position they had to battle through in this game 3.
Alan able to knock down a Tetris. And up slightly high, knock down another one. Not going to have to focus on burning this out. Meanwhile, Tristop with a pristine board should be able to take the lead from Alan here and potentially build up one as well.
Yeah, seems like the gears are starting to turn here for Tristop, and Tristop, you do not want the gears to be turning for Tristop if you're their opponent.
So far, Dylan and Andy, the lead hasn't really changed too much, but Dylan is also behind slightly in lines. There it is, boom, Tetris for Dylan, still down by 39,000 points.
Nice burns for Andy to open up for that Tetris.
Oh, nice adjustment right there for Dylan, taking the safety single. Forced to take a couple of burns and endures just enough with through that drought. Long bar dependent, but gets that filled. And still essentially down by 36,000.
Tetris for Andy.
Dylan now, Tetris ready here going into level 24. And boom, Tetris for Dylan. 829 for Dylan, 927 for Andy here, middle of level 25. We are looking at a pretty high score going into level 29.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure being put on Dylan currently in this game 4.
And we know Dylan can play 29, but the way that this lead is starting to shape up, Dylan might have to go for efficiency on 29. And when you're forced to go for efficiency on 29, it's always a scary thing.
Yeah, we'll see if Dylan may try to set up some, you know, Tetrises preemptively before hitting that level 29.
971 for Andy, 876 for Dylan.
But Andy is not slowing down, going to make this as difficult as possible for their opponent.
Yeah, Andy already with 1 million points, knocks down Tetris, goes up to 1,038,000. Dylan opens up the well, waiting on a long bar. There it is, boom, Tetris for Dylan.
Oh, nice.
Nice adjustment.
That's the kind of movements you're going to need here. And that minor adjustment can make the difference.
I mean, able to save, you know, even one line of efficiency, especially on level 28. That makes, you know, a whole difference because that means you could squeeze out another Tetris and still potentially set up preemptively for another one on 29. There it is, boom, Tetris for Dylan. Actually closing the gap to Andy. He's going to try and set up, all right, great pieces here for the center. Andy's trying to generate some more points. Oh no, only one line to burn. Dylan's going to go to 29 at 1,087,000, down by 17,000 points. But that hang might do it. Dylan needs to get some piece over. That's not going to happen. So Andy is good for game number 4 and advances to your top 8.
Great set here between Dylan and Andy. Dylan was maintaining such consistent play, bringing it to Pixel Andy, but Pixel Andy showing that they are a threat moving forward and showing their rolling prowess. They are going to be someone you do not want to match with.
Meanwhile, Alan and Tristop, we have a pretty even game here.
There's an odd floating block there for Alan, but going to work their way through it.
Xeno and Hydrant to stage 1. Xeno and Hydrant to stage 1.
We are about to approach the transition between Alan and Tristop. Tristop maintaining a 85K lead, but Alan is also behind by 10 lines, so they can close this gap if they maintain a good rate. Tristop not opting for the T-spin double, actually going for that single vertical T piece burn, which is actually more efficient and the right move. As much as we want to see the T-spin.
All right, Tristop's going to transition low 500. Alan looking for long bar, and there it is. Boom, Tetris for Alan's also going to transition at low 500. So arguably, you can say they are neck and neck upon transition.
Nice little T-spin there from Alan into the Tetris.
Tristop running into a drought here, having to do some survival. Boom, Tetris for Tristop. And actually, nice job keeping those holes both isolated on the same layer. Really allowed for a efficient cleanup. But Alan is also behind in line, so Alan could have the lead here.
Yeah, so far it's been pretty close. Alan has been behind on about 10 lines since, you know, that late level 18.
Alan is running into some complications. Set up
oh
for
my
a
God.
boom, dirty Tetris for Alan.
A very fortunate long bar timing for Alan.
And Alan's gonna open up the well, and this Tetris, when the long bar comes, should put us in neck and neck territory.
Looks like Tristop is finding their groove, and you know, this is not the Tristop you want to be playing against on the post transition.
And right now, 34 piece drought right there for Alan. Boom, Tetris for Alan. Still trying to stay just right there with Tristop, but Tristop does have a true lead in terms of pace.
Alan's been doing a great job trying to keep up here with Tristop, but Tristop is not letting down, not letting off of the gas.
$696 over here for Alan, make that $726 for Alan, and $780 for Tristop. Forced to use a long bar to fill in a dependency, so able to get another one next to score Tetris. Alan down by 82,000, going for these conservative doubles just to survive. Very disciplined play, but we are running out of time. We have just about 3 more levels left till 29 play.
Yeah, this is looking very close. I know Alan can play a rough hang.
Small misdrop, and gets the long bar over
nice.
just barely. Knocks out another Tetris, gonna take the lead, but now has to do some cleanup. But Tristop is in a similar situation, so whoever's gonna be able to get out of their respective dig first has an opportunity to build up a small lead.
Yeah, this is what Alan needs going into level 29 to put that pressure onto Tristop. Tristop going through a minor drought here, hangs the L piece. Oh, not able to get the J piece all the way to the left.
And Tristop is gonna top out at 837. Broden at 842 is good for game number 3.
Actually putting Alan in the lead here. Not with the set win, but oh wait. Alan has an extra heart. As we see, we're going to have Xeno and Hydrant here on the bottom. They are currently warming up.
Yeah, what a close game that was by Alan and Tristop. I mean, if you take their transition scores, they were only separated by a Tetris. And at the end, you know, Alan won by less than a Tetris. And it just seemed like there was a really rough sequence on 27 that, I mean, would have done both of them in.
Yeah, in addition to that rough sequence, you know, Tristop had that devastating misdrop on the J piece.
And Alan is going to push down for 1 point for an early lead.
All right, while we are getting started here on this level 18, we would like to do a huge thanks to Hyperkin, which has been supporting the CTWC since the beginning. Over the past year, they have helped Tetris communities around the world by sending them NES consoles, NES consoles, and controllers. Hyperkin leads the way in the retro and modern entertainment industry with unique, fun, and innovative items, including the Retron console. Check them out at hyperkin.com. Let's game, Sharky.
And game we shall, because I believe we are about to get our match down at the bottom started right now.
Good luck, Hydrant and Xeno, getting started for game one. You're welcome.
But game number 4 over here. And Tristop now having to win this game kind of to at least force a decider. Making it to top 8 because there is, you know, you do get paid more the further you make it in a tournament. That's, you know, traditionally how they work.
Yeah, and, you know, money's not such a bad thing after all and can buy many things that might make you happy.
Yeah. Or could invest for something for your future. But as of right now, Tristop running into some complications here. I actually like the way that was solved. Incredibly efficient.
Yeah, big brain moves from all these players here tonight. Or I'm sorry, this afternoon. It is dark in here, so I was thrown off a little bit.
I mean, for some people around the world, it could be for tonight.
Right.
It's tonight somewhere.
Yeah, for those of you in Europe.
But so far, really close games all around the board. And, you know, Alan with a just under a Tetris lead. And Xeno with a just about a 2 Tetris lead here. Hydrant with a couple holes in the stack.
Alan on the verge of winning the set against Tristop. I would consider that an upset, even though it is 11 versus 6, because Tristop has been pretty dominant in the online scene. But as we were mentioning earlier, Alan hasn't really been participating competitively, so we're not sure what to expect here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, almost 2 years since last CTWC appearance. And so this, you know, for Alan to, you know, make it this far and potentially make it back in top 8. 1 game stands between Alan and top 8, and Alan would have made top 8 in 2 participating CTWCs in a row. Which a top 8 in the field that we have this year, incredibly impressive.
Oh, absolutely. We have seen Alan from time to time on Tetris Effect Connected Classic Score Tech, brought to you by Enhance, available on pretty much every platform out there. Be sure to check it out.
Yeah, before the Honda Cup, you know, Alan actually had the world record for the highest score in Tetris Effect Connected. And then Huff and Eric decided to get a double 1.3.
It's like Alan was pretty high on the board there for a moment. Find some nice pieces to navigate through this situation.
Oh, no. Looking, no, not
okay.
Able to slide it under, misses the spin, and not able to tap it over. And that Tetris is going to allow Tristop to take game number 4. We are going to a decider.
Grab your glasses. Be sure to cheers the one sitting next to you. Heading to that decider matchup.
And Hydrant able to set up a T-spin. Would love a Z-piece to just really open that up. It's going to find an alternative solution with a nice little split double with that I piece. But as a result, Xeno has been able to find, you know, little hints of efficiency. The lead has increased from 40,000 to 70,000. Boom, simul Tetris for Xeno and Hydrant.
Hydrant making their way back to the right well. Xeno with a very nice pace to start things off here.
Yeah, we are looking around 600K transition territory. And Alan hits the S-spin for a nice delayed burn to keep the well open, but this Droughton's starting to look in deadly territory. Forced to just go all for broken. It's going to pay off. Ooh. Alan knocks down a Tetris, but Tristop in a little bit of danger, able to open up the well. And there it is. Boom, Tetris for Tristop. Well done on both players having to handle a drought like that. And the timing of that drought was really brutal.
Actually, some pretty great snap decision-making from Tristop. Throwing a piece to the far left to create some quick horizontal skims for that double Tetris follow-up.
There it is, boom, Tetris for Tristop, separated by a single up top. Almost as close as you can get.
That's what you want to see in a decider.
And if Alan's gonna push it down for 2 points. And we're running into, yet again, another drought. Seems like this particular seed is just filled with droughts. Nice last second tuck over there from Alan.
I would say that's a pretty confident tuck setup, considering how high that was.
And
pretty high center here from Alan.
Yeah, gonna wanna try and bring things down, or rather fill in the left side. You know, get to more even stack as opposed to TGMS.
Yeah, good decision so far, finding their way through this.
We have transitions down at the bottom, 600,000 for Xeno and I believe just under 500,000 for Hydrant.
Yeah, nice start here for Xeno. Already over 600K going into level 20.
Boom, Tetris for Xeno, 652 now, 100,000 point lead. And he's just continuing to pour it on as well.
This is the farthest Xeno has made it in a CTWC event with that 7th seed. So Hydrant, we are used to seeing here make it towards these later rounds. Oh,
Alan getting up incredibly high. This is the decider, so there's no second chances. Nice skims. Needs to just burn this down. All right, opens up that hole. Needs to get access to the one in the center of the stack. Good burn so far. Great Z and S. Great combination of pieces. Needs one more to open up the well. The well is open, and boom! Tetris for Alan. And boom, Tetris for Tristop, who's now at a 42,000 point lead. Make that 66.
Meanwhile, Hydrant finding some pretty high up skims, filling out that left for Tetris, looking to close this gap against Xeno here on the left.
Hydrant now knocks down another Tetris. Starting to find some efficiency. The 100,000 point lead is now decreased to only 33,000.
Yeah, Xeno is behind slightly when it comes to lines, but Hydrant is closing this gap.
Xeno knocks down, or get ready for a Tetris to knock down. And there it is, triple boom Tetris for Xeno, but boom Tetris for Hydrant, who's closed the gap to now only 12,000 points. And as you can see, both of these players are rollers.
They've been stacking great so far. Nice high lefts from Xeno as they have been progressing.
Yeah, Hydrant has been emphasizing on some foundational stacking here. You could see, you know, the use of the double wide. Oh, small hang from Hydrant.
Yeah, getting a little precarious, but they're taking their time. Nice double burn.
Hydrant should be able to dig out of this. Xeno also running into a small dig, so the lead is going to stay roughly around the same point, but Hydrant has opened up the well, and with this Tetris could take the lead. Nice burns. Beautifully played. Boom Tetris for Xeno, able to get out before Hydrant could, and there it is, boom Tetris for Hydrant. We are nearing the transition up top, but we are nearing 29 down here at the bottom. 1 Tetris left for Hydrant. 3 potentially for Xeno. There's 1, 981 for Xeno. Hydrant trying to get one more, has one more line to burn. Set up for a Tetris. Xeno now with a max out. Hydrant with 984, knocks down another 29 Tetris, closing the gap now to only 1 Tetris here. And we are off to the races on level 29. Xeno with a 30,000 point lead, so a Tetris would catch Hydrant up to Xeno. Both players now just having to fight this out on 29. See, they're trying to get their stacks under control, really trying to get into an ideal position to survive. We've seen with Andy, you know, all it takes is just a misdrop or even a high stack to really put it into this. And Hydrant is getting a little bit uncomfortable, able to get those pieces over the left. Might be setting up for a center wall Tetris. No, just gonna go for the triple. Trying to play it safe. You know, Xeno having a little bit of trouble. That hangover to the left, gonna have to go for a flat burn, but Hydrant is long bar dependent on the right-hand side, or left-hand side, I mean. Meanwhile, Tristop and Allen have both transitioned. Xeno's getting up a little bit high, trying to do the best, able to get that square all the way over the left. Beautiful burns, look at this. Able to throw those pieces all the way over, still alive. Hydrant is close to gap now, only 20,000 points, but Xeno's still in trouble. Hydrant now only down by 18,000. Meanwhile, Tristop is also in trouble. Tristop having to fight for the tournament life here. You can see rolling be employed. Able to just throw those squares. Oh no, misdrop from Tristop. Tristop trying to stay alive, gets all the right pieces. Trying to burn any line he can. And oh no, Tristop is gonna top out at 639. So Allen is good in a decider to go to top 8. And Xeno is gonna top out at 1,118,000. Hydrant only needs 6,000 more points after an insane, you know, survival from Xeno. A double should do it. There it is. Hydrant is good for game number 1.
Wow. Great pair of games here. And Allen does move forward past Tristop, which I would consider an upset, but as we have mentioned, that, you know, Allen is just someone we're not sure what they're gonna bring to the table here, advancing to the top 8. But Xeno and Hydrant, such a close matchup, and it seems like both are quite adept at that 29 play, so we're gonna see some long matches and close matches.
Yeah, we also saw, you know, Xeno, do gotta, you know, point out, Xeno had absolutely fantastic survival, just able, you know, prolong it as long as they did here at level 34.
Both with that 1.1. We're gonna see more of that.
So 1 second while we handle a small technical glitch. And there we go. So game 1 goes to Hydrant. You know, Xeno showed up in quals and, you know, like we mentioned earlier, just had an absolutely stellar qual. Getting 7th seed in this particular tournament, you know, that's impressive considering the first 4 seeds had more than 13 max outs. Or 13 or more max outs. Yeah,
absolutely. And Xeno being newer to the, you know, top 16 of CTWC, here to prove themselves. And
so far, Xeno having to take a couple of burns early game. Nothing too serious, but, you know, this is going to allow Hydrant to, you know, gain some efficiency early on. And, you know, that was a huge thing. You know, Xeno played just more efficient than Hydrant in the earlier stages of the game and kind of forced Hydrant to, at some points, even consider going a little bit aggressive. And had Xeno not topped out when they did, it is quite possible we would have seen Hydrant forced to go for a Tetris sooner or later.
Yeah, and I feel like that dynamic could shift between these two. It seems like a very close matchup, and even just by seeing these players play throughout the year, this might be the closest matchup I've seen so far on the stage.
Yeah, but right now, Xeno still not quite getting friendly pieces. Able to open up the well, though. And there it is. Boom, Tetris for Xeno, but boom, Tetris for Hydrant. So I believe this is our last match here in round of 16, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it really? Well, we're flying through these.
Yeah, and they've been all great matches. So far, 135 for Xeno, 231 for Hydrant, almost a 100,000, no, now over a 100,000 point lead. Hydrant is slightly ahead in line, so probably will stay around this 95-ish range.
Set up for the long bar tuck here.
Very nice.
Has another name as well, but here we go for another Tetris.
Yeah. also known as the death-defying vertical long bar slide. Personally, one of my favorite names for it.
Also at a time known as the Moo thing, very briefly.
Because, I mean, in some cases, it can be death-defying. But right now, Hydrant just really continuing to keep the pressure on Xeno. And, you know, it just goes to show, you know, how even if it's just a small portion of 18, that opener, you know, is very important to capitalize on those early Tetrises. Because if you and your opponent, you know, get into a groove, you're knocking down a Tetris, they're knocking down a Tetris.
Yeah.
The lead isn't changing because you're all both scoring, you know, off of the same long bars.
You know, it seems like both these players are proficient in that 29 play, so as much of a lead as they can get going into that that phase will be significant and force that player to, you know, play aggressive, go for Tetrises instead of simply lining out.
Yeah, because, you know, at a certain extent, you know, on 29, you do have a mental limit. And if you are playing until you reach that mental limit and you're still down by 100,000, you know, it's going to be really difficult for you to have to, you know, endure already with the mental stress that is, you know, 29.
Right, and the thing about 29 play is, you know, when we see, for example, we saw Eric ICX lining out yesterday, that is not an easy thing to do by any means, even though they've mastered it to some extent. So sticking in that 29 play for so long is going to be draining.
Yeah, because it's when, you know, it's kind of like checks and balances. You can either decide to, you know, go for some efficiency early on, really cut the lead down or build up a lead, or, you know, you can try and line out. But the longer you line out, you know, the more chances you have for it to make a mistake. Because Eric going all the way to, I believe, you know, this level that they did up against Poke yesterday, that's, you know, over 12 levels, and that placements had to be nearly flawless.
Yeah, it's quite crazy, and we're going to see more of it as we progress through this final top 16 match and the top 8 following. We'll see who here will advance to that top 8. Both are great candidates.
Yeah, but right now, I'll tell you something that is great, and that's Hydrant's current score, 600,000 at 117 lines.
Wow.
This might be the highest transition score that we've seen all tournament.
Xeno claiming that this is a personal attack against them from Hydrant Dude with his 603,000.
There it is, boom, Tetris for Hydrant. Hydrant could actually get 3 more. Wait, could we see it? It looks like it's gonna be just slightly off of a potential 700. Should Hydrant were able to get 2. Oh, 2 misdrops in a row. Hydrant, now, there's actually a couple ways to solve this. The most obvious solution being getting a O-piece. And Hydrant's gonna go for burn right there. But wow, 653 transition. Xeno not that far behind him. Boom, dirty Tetris for Hydrant. This is quite a game. Xeno, you know, just because of that situation Hydrant forced himself into, really couldn't, you know, utilize any of those Tetrises, and Xeno was able to close the gap from being 100,000 points leading into transition to now only being down by 65.
Yeah, both players with amazing transition scores. We'll see if they can maintain this pace as they move into level 29, and who will put the pressure on who.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, we saw kind of, you know, their 19 play in the last game, and they are very proficient. And with the ability to roll, you know, they have a very high risk tolerance. There it is, boom, Tetris for Hydrant.
Xeno set up and waiting.
Xeno's waiting quite a bit. And there it is. Long bar checked in a little late there, but, you know, better to be at work than never. 807 now for Xeno, 868 for Hydrant, and this is in the early level 20s.
Yeah.
These scores are massive.
Right, and actually a great stacking discipline so far from Xeno. It seems like they usually have that high left. Getting some tricky pieces here.
Hydrant, oh wow, that going for that suck.
Nice.
Boom, Tetris for Xeno. Hydrant actually only a Tetris and change away. There it is, boom, Tetris for Hydrant. We might see a max out in the level 25.
Wow.
And there it is, boom, Tetris for Hydrant, max out going into level 25. We still have 4 full levels before we go to 29. And Xeno's not that far away, only down by 87,000.
No, Xeno's having an amazing game as well. This Hydrant is dropping Tetris after Tetris.
Boom, Tetris for Xeno. Set up for one more, and there it is. Boom, Tetris for Hydrant. Xeno having to do some small burns. Running into a drought. Opens up the well, though. And oh, beautiful adjustment. Able to clean up that hole. And there it is. Boom, Tetris for Xeno. Max out for Xeno. But Hydrant is almost 100,000 points in the lead. And boom, Tetris for Hydrant.
Hydrant handling these droughts amazingly into another Tetris. Nearly at 1.2.
Yeah, there it is. Boom, Tetris for Hydrant. We could see a 1.3 going into 29. Our highest score going into 29 in CTWC, or live CTWC history. Hydrant just needs a couple more Tetrises. There it is. Boom, Tetris for Hydrant.
Wow.
1.25 million. Hydrant set up, and look at just how clean this stack is.
Amazing play from Hydrant, dude.
Boom, Tetris for Hydrant. Xeno goes to 29 with 1.1 million. Hydrant needs one more. Oh, one more long bar. Gonna tell.
There it is.
And there it is. 1.3 for Hydrant.
Wow.
But hold on, it's not over. 29 players at hand, and this board is not necessarily ideal for Hydrant. Hydrant is doing the best that they can. Nice burns, able to get that piece all the way over to the left. Still trying to find it. Not gonna go for the tuck though. Too risky. But Hydrant's running out of room, and Hydrant is gonna top out at 1.3 million. Xeno needs to get 1,334,000 in order to tie up the set. And this board is not necessarily comfortable. All right, there it is. Xeno's down to the bottom. Can we see it? Xeno right now having to do some lineouts. Very mentally taxing here. Can Xeno handle the pressure? 153,000. This is a Eric chase down.
Yeah,
what we've seen from Eric yesterday.
They brought it down to a stable position. I think we'll see how they handle it so far. So far, so good. And still have 140K to go due to Hydrant's 1.3 into that 29.
I mean, a 1.3 into 29. Absolutely ridiculous. But right now, everything's looking stable. At this point, it's about 3 Tetrises away. Xeno's looking clean here. Just trying to keep everything stable.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to take any risk. Just keeping it safe. But it just takes one mishaps for it to spiral out of control.
It just takes you to space out for, I mean, less than a second. Because on 29, this stuff is not easy to play. We're talking about pieces moving down. Oh, Xeno getting a little bit risky here. Just gonna have to try and burn it down. Just restabilize, kind of reset. And there it is. Oh, Xeno might, no, not gonna set up. Xeno keeping it nice and clean here. But as I was saying, these pieces on 29 from top to bottom, they're moving at 1/3 of a second. So these players are having to make decisions faster than that in order to accommodate for the speed.
Yeah, great double burn there from Xeno.
65,000 points remain, or the equivalent of 2 Tetrises, level 38.
Great chase down so far.
And this might be our highest scoring game from both players here, if you discount the Mullen from Eric's 1.5 yesterday. At this point, 1 Tetris will do it. We are on level 39. Yes. 1.3 million here for Xeno. Things are starting to get slightly complicated. Oh, no, that's dangerous. Oh, no, Xeno's actually in some trouble. Needs 26,000 more points. Needs to try and cannot complete it. But, hey, double 1.3 million.
Let's go.
Was down by 156,000 and was able to chase down 130,000 of that. I mean, you don't quite expect your opponent to get a 1.3 going into 29.
Yeah, and that was a great example. Xeno, it seemed like they were in control for like just about 10 levels there and had a very low board, but it just takes that one mishaps and it can spiral just depending on, because you have to be very ready to place the next piece at these speeds. So when your prediction goes wrong, it's like when you miss DAS, right? And then you have to like adjust on the fly. So very difficult when you have those misdrops on.
And of course, I mean, you really don't see players doing adjustments on 29, but there could also be any element of indecisiveness could lead to a misdrop. On 29, the way that it is, you have to be so precise with your placement. Everything has to be intentional.
Absolutely. Xeno almost had that chase down there, but Hydrant's 1.3 held strong.
But now double 1.3, the highest scoring game when you combine both players.
Amazing.
This is top 16, and we thought K-Pokes games were insane. Like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, and we have more of that to come, possibly here in this game 3. We see that Xeno has what it takes. We'll see if Hydrant can nail another 1.3 going into 29, but that doesn't happen a whole lot.
A double 1.3 in before 29, or like back to back. I don't know if I can handle it if that happens. But man, just tremendous pre-transition and tremendous post as well. Like, you know, Hydrant win the 29 at just around 1.33. And if you think about it, one more Tetris, Hydrant would have got 700K post.
Absolutely insane.
But
yeah, and they almost hit that 700K on level 18 as well, heading into that transition.
yeah, so it could have been even higher.
They found that dirty Tetris heading into the 130 line mark, right? But yeah, if they nailed 1 or 2 more Tetrises, that would have been near 1.4.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, these players, you know, they're capable of doing it. Even though Dachi is no longer in the tournament, Dachi was able to get a 1.4 before 29 using tap. He wasn't a roller when that happened. So these players are capable of getting 1.4s before 29, as ludicrous as it sounds.
And that efficiency is actually going to be key in these head-to-head level 29 play. As you force Xeno, for example, they held strong for quite a while, but it takes such focus to maintain that for 10 plus levels.
Yeah, there might not be a line cap after 29, but there is a mental cap.
Right.
And at some point you will hit it. But right now we have a really close game, 205 for Hydrant, and wait, Hydrant's playing perfect so far.
Keeping up that great efficiency. 100% Tetris rate.
Why can't we see 101? In order to get that, you just got to push down.
Yeah, I was about to say, maybe some push down points.
We are running into a drought here, and both players up decently high. Hydrant covers up the well, so Xeno able to get a Tetris there, and Hydrant follows.
Sometimes when you have that perfect game, you really push for it. It seemed like they were pushing for it.
Yeah, I mean, it happens because it's like, you recognize it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't burned. Yeah. And then you're like, let's see how far I can go.
Right. Can say I have done that multiple times and it doesn't end well, but Hydrant dude with amazing mechanics, showing that they can push it.
Yeah, good thing, strong thing about Hydrant is Hydrant has extremely strong fundamentals. And, we kind of saw that actually in game 1, where Hydrant, even despite being down, kind of went for a more double wide-esque setup on 19 to try and mitigate as much risk as possible. And kind of lets situations, happening to Hydrant as opposed to Xeno in that particular game.
Yeah, I've been appreciating seeing players that are employing rolling use that conservative stacking to maintain that consistent efficiency, right?
Yeah, because, what would you rather prefer? Peak efficiency, half of the time, or really good efficiency 80% of the time?
Personally, I am more afraid of the consistent players that are just constantly not going to top out and bring you to 29 every game.
And right now, Hydrant dude really hasn't taken burns since, that one drought that we saw around, 40 lines. 459,000 at 84 lines for Hydrant. This could actually be higher than the transition of the previous game.
That would be something. On track currently.
Have we had a 700K transition in a live CTWC before?
I would say no.
I don't think there was in 2019, and I mean, that's when I joined the scene.
Right. Just in general, I don't think we've had a whole lot of 700K.
I mean, we had so many records broken. I mean, even qualifying, first we had the online and in-person qual record broken in the first qualifying session with 13 from Dog and Andy. And then 2 hours later, Fractal and Eric are going to break it.
Yeah. This top 8 is going to be absolutely crazy with all these, the seeding is proving to be accurate so far with that consistent play in the qualifying.
575 for Hydrant at 107 lines. And Xeno is only down by 36,000
Right,
points.
I was about to
so,
say. Yeah.
despite Hydrant, being as efficient as they are, Xeno is right on Hydrant's tail.
As even the game before they were playing so well, but Hydrant's just taking the stop at the
just taking
spotlight.
that one Tetris more. I mean, it makes a 22,800 point difference.
It's going to be a very high transition score for both players.
It's going to be like 10,000 points off. So I believe this is going to be our newest highest transition if a long bar does come from Hydrant. When Hydrant's Tetris ready, of course.
Yeah. And there it is right away.
Boom, Tetris for Hydrant, 693 transition. And Xeno's going to transition at 635, so double 600K transition, but Xeno's back is against the wall. Xeno needs to win this game in order to force a game 4.
Wow. Tetris for Hydrant.
Xeno going to take a safety triple, and there it is. Boom, Tetris for Xeno. Hydrant continuously going high, and there it is. Boom, Tetris for Hydrant. 745 to now 666.
Amazing stacking so far from Hydrant.
Hydrant having to take a couple of burns, so Xeno might be able to gain 1 Tetris of efficiency, which you got to chip at it away anywhere you can with the way that Hydrant's playing.
Right.
And a little risky there, but boom, Tetris for Hydrant. Another boom Tetris for Hydrant, getting really into a stable position. And great pieces too, but Xeno, all right, able to get that over, burn the double, open up the well, and boom, Tetris for Xeno. It just seems like that piece sequence going into ending level 20 was just really difficult because we saw a similar situation from Hydrant.
Yeah. And both players handling it very well. Xeno is having an amazing game. Still behind
Hydrant with the hang! And Eyepiece has to get over, and Hydrant's going to top out at 858. Xeno just needs to chase down 859, and we will be going into a game 4. There's 1 Tetris. I mean, I guess Hydrant really took us at your word and was about to try and go for another 1.3 into 29.
It's very, very enticing. But Xeno put in a comfortable position, especially with their amazing efficiency and mechanics to take this home. But you still got to close this out. That's still 60K to go.
Anything can happen. We've seen these kind of chase downs not quite make it in the earlier rounds. So you still have to get the chase down. And, a 30-piece drop. Okay, there it is, Tetris for Xeno. 1 more is needed. Waiting on the long bar. Where's the long bar? A little bit too late. Now just waiting on the next one. This is not the time to go on vacation. And there it is. Boom, Tetris for Xeno.
Xeno on the board.
Game number 3.
Hydrant with some near perfect stacking, it seemed like, for like 2 games in a row until that terrible miss drop followed up with that long bar on top of it, really closing off the left.
I mean, you said for him to go for a 1.3, and he was going for it.
Yeah, well on pace for that back-to-back 1.3, which is amazing to see. And that's a great card for Hydrant to have, moving forward through this set and potentially into the top 8.
Yeah, I mean, being done on a stage in front of all these people too, like when pressure is at the high, and, winner of this gets a bit more of a paycheck than, the loser. So there is so much, that these players are having to play through, subconsciously think about. And to perform at a level that is demonstrated by both Xeno and Hydrant is nothing short of phenomenal, and it's only going to get tougher from here.
Yeah, some players definitely perform a little bit different under the lights and in front of the crowd than at home, in the comfort of their own chair. So,
especially considering these chairs.
With that being said, so far Xeno's been, that was funny. But so far, Xeno has been performing amazingly as well, even under this pressure.
Yeah, I mean, even if we isolate Hydrant's, high transitions, Xeno was only like a Tetris or 2. Only a Tetris behind Hydrant's transition. So Xeno has been playing great.
It seems like Xeno just chugged their coffee to go for the ultimate efficiency. We'll see how it works out.
All right, we're about to get game 4 underway shortly. But of course, if you want to help reward these players even more, and you're watching live at home, if you type in !Matcherino in the chat, you can contribute to the prize pool. We are aiming for 20. Oh, we actually hit one of our goals of $8,368, which means everyone that has played today here in top 16 is walking away with an extra $250.
Huge shout out to everyone that is supporting this event.
But if you want to contribute to the Matcherino, !Matcherino in the Twitch chat.
So yeah, those that are in the top 16 will be walking away with at least $500.
And the match the intensity is only going to grow from here. And oh, the hang over there from Xeno. And oh, okay, they're actually committing to throwing pieces over to the left.
I like that.
All right, so Xeno gonna have to try and, chop this down. Very nice and disciplined burns.
Yeah, I like that they bit the bullet through that J piece over rather than waiting for the long bar.
Yeah, and actually, if you look at it from a long-term perspective, it allows Xeno to keep the stack, not have to, demolish the stack and then build it back up.
Right.
Just only taking off the roof and, changing the tiles or blocks for that matter.
Yeah, reshingling the roof.
Yeah. But, as a result of that dig, every dig has its cost. You have to pay for it, and Xeno is now behind by 55,000 points.
Yep.
Hydrant is not quite getting ideal pieces.
Yeah, that was a little tricky with a bit of a Z stack.
So Xeno might have an opportunity here. Hydrant does get the long bar to fill in the dependency. Doesn't want to make these small adjustment. And that's the thing, especially when we're talking about in the context of Hydrant. When Hydrant runs into those situations, you have to capitalize on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Xeno not too far behind, especially with that Tetris. It's going to be, I guess Xeno is in the future about 10 lines, but...
yeah, Hydrant might be spending some of those lines here following that triple,
yep.
So we could actually see some row 2 from Hydrant. And there it is. Boom, slightly off sync simul Tetris.
Very close simul Tetris.
And Hydrant looking for a piece in the center. Does get 2 J pieces, so great timing. And that O piece not quite helpful. Hydrant holding out.
There we go.
And there it is. Boom, Tetris for Hydrant. Still holding on to this 38,000 point lead.
Xeno with a bit of a healthier stack. Hydrant quickly changing that with that burn into the Tetris.
Yeah, and that also speaks.
Nice.
Oh, nice Tetris over there for Hydrant. It's gonna be able. Oh, the nice setup right there from Hydrant. Gonna go for the S flat as well.
I like that.
You're seeing a lot of these really advanced and strategic setups from Hydrant, and you're watching right now how there's an opportunity for increased efficiency. Of course, RNG does have to comply, and wasn't necessarily compliant, so Hydrant is gonna have to burn, and this is a perfect opportunity for Xeno.
But it looks like Xeno has their own burns to go through as well, so.
And oh, Xeno decided not to go for the split double there.
It seems like throughout this set, it seems like both players are running into tough sequences at the same time and having to go through their own burns respectively.
Yeah, but Tetris for Xeno and Tetris for Hydrant. We are now tied at 349,000 apiece. Double from Xeno's going, of course, break the tie, and Hydrant's going to knock down a Tetris. Ties mid-game are incredibly rare. There it is, boom, Tetris for Xeno, and Hydrant's gonna push down for 6 points to prevent any kind of tie.
Not letting it happen. Oh,
and Xeno might try and no, gonna try and yeah, it's real tricky to deal with. So gonna just burn on top, and oh no, a little bit risky. All right, nice burns. Needs an L piece or an I piece. I piece comes a tad bit too late. Putting a lot of weight over there on that right well. The right well can just get open. L piece is needed or an I piece. Xeno now having to do a lot of survival. I piece is needed now over there on the right hand side. And it's not gonna happen. Xeno's gonna top it at 382. Ladies and gentlemen, your final player advancing to the top 8 is going to be Hydrant.
Great game from Hydrant, dude. Having that 1.3, having amazing efficiency. They had that one rough hang pretty much that ended their game in game 3. But other than that, Hydrant, dude, is playing amazingly.
Yeah, but what a game, what a set, and what a way to close out. But, oh, man.